Should probably add myself. Hi, guys. I hope everybody has had a good Monday. I am just going to make sure my volume's off on my phone. How's everybody doing? I hope everybody has had a good weekend, and if you were able to have today off to celebrate, I hope you guys had a good extra day. I am coming to you guys barefaced, so I hope that doesn't bother anybody. I just could not be bothered to put any makeup on today. Just kind of like let my face breathe. So I guess I will get to the chat and say hi to everybody. Hey, the Dark Magician every time. You know it's going to happen. Hey, Abby Princess. Hey, Mandy. Hey, Jean. Hey, Michelle. Yes, tonight is our discussion topic that was voted on is the effects of toxic YouTubers. I put that in quotes just for safety reasons more than anything else, because everybody's opinion and everybody's experience with every creator, whether we talk about one or multiple or talk about it in general, your experience may be something different, which may make you view a creator as being toxic, whereas somebody else may have a different experience. So we are talking about that and the effects that it can have on the viewers, as far as it even going to the extent of affecting your mental health. Hey, Susan. Hey, Melissa. How are you guys? So that is going to be our topic for this evening. And I know there's been one of the individual who really wanted to have this discussion. She has had a bad experience with, and I'm not going to out her, but she has had a bad experience with Katie Joy, and from her toxic behavior, it had affected her enough to where she felt that she needed to get help and get on medication. And the reality is, I don't always think that creators understand everything that you cover. If you don't cover very controversial topics with a certain poise, that you have the ability to trigger, you have the ability to cause harm. And it happens more often than I think people genuinely realize. And it really does depend on how much, I think, as viewers, we allow ourselves to be subject to whatever it is that we're watching that we interpret as being triggering, or that instills some kind of emotion out of us or a reaction out of us. Hey, Beauty Demon. Hey, Diane, good to see you. I'm glad you're here. Hopefully you enjoy being a part of the live chat. You think with KJ, and I think a lot of people who are a part of the community or who are a part of any channel or community of channels that have talked about Katie's behavior and how she has harmed communities, I've talked about it quite a bit when I was covering her, is it wasn't so much that I think she's an evil person. It's more or less her delivery of her content. Nobody should be here to police each other and say what should or should not be talked about. I think everything could be talked about. It's a matter of how the creator goes about their delivery and how they are talking about very sensitive and controversial issues. Katie's primary content that she typically covers day in and day out are religious institutions, which are often related to as what she calls them cults. A lot of people feel that they are cults. Even people who were once a part of these religious communities will come out and say that they felt that they were a part of a cult. So I think you can have those conversations, and Katie, anybody could have the conversation. It's just the way she goes about how she delivers things when she's talking about things that are so controversial that have affected a lot of people, to where when you just flippantly say things and project your opinion onto an entire body of people can be harmful. She has personally, you guys probably know if you've been on my channel for any amount of time, she personally affected me when she tried to out this family for a situation that they were going through in a way that was really inappropriate. And really, honestly, it bothered me because I'm an adopted child. and how she's talked about other situations when it comes to really controversial things. I almost wonder at times if it's her shtick, so to speak, that she wants to go with a more controversial side because it does rile people up. So it does bring people in, whether they're watching because they thoroughly enjoy her or they're watching because they want to see what crazy things she is going to say next, what crazy things she's going to put out there next in relation to the Duggars or the Sister Wives or whoever else she decides to regularly cover. And when she covers YouTube stuff, she has a tendency to go way too far and make too many implications. And the same thing, I guess I could say with the Duggars. Right now, it's really playing into her hand with everything going on with Josh Duggar and his arrest. And it's almost made it to where she kind of gets a little bit more credibility because some of the things that she's always pointed out and always said have kind of come full circle. So it's almost fed her ego. So then she goes in even harder on the next community that she wants to out. And oftentimes when she's doing that and she's going from her own bias in her own situations, it's how she delivers her opinion on these things and how she words things without thinking about how it's going to hurt whoever is watching. And then if you happen to speak out against it or show a different opinion in her chat, if she's having a live chat, you are a big bright light gets shined on you and you get talked to very poorly. She degrades you. She makes you feel like you shouldn't have said anything. And it creates a toxic environment. I personally believe that Katie's channel can be very toxic. She does have negative impacts. She's had a negative impact on me before. And I know I'm not the only one. Anytime we've kind of talked about her, people are saying how they have felt negatively affected. And that's really, it's an unfortunate thing. It really is that some creators, and I'm not saying all the time, but some creators even unintentionally feed into this kind of stuff and then end up hurting a large majority of their audience. Hey, Xylee. Hey, Nat. Yeah, raise your hand if you've been victimized by Kate. I think a lot of people would feel that to some degree. They've at least been offended. I wouldn't want to necessarily say that everybody feels that they have been victimized, but I would say everybody has definitely probably been offended by Katie at one point. And maybe for some who regularly engaged with her content, even after realizing she was just going to, instill some kind of negative emotion out of them, continue to watch. Hey, Maria Rose, how are you? Hey, Sue. It's good to see everyone. Hey, Kazoodles, good to see you. I'm just trying to make sure I'm saying hi to everybody. She didn't affect you because you didn't watch long enough. And I think that's kind of the part of this conversation that a lot of people probably won't like what I have to say, but I'm just going to, be honest with you guys. I think a lot of why people did get so affected, and I can even say for myself included, was even though I knew she was problematic, even though I knew if I watched any of her content, no matter what it was, I was likely to leave in some kind of negative emotion, whether it was anger, frustration, being upset, whether it was on Twitter, on Instagram, on YouTube. I kind of allowed myself to be put into that position though, because I continued to go back. When I announced my departure of her content, I had been able to see all of her stuff. On YouTube, you have the ability to go in and click do not recommend channel. I did that for all of her two channels that I knew of. I totally unfollowed on all platforms anything related to her. I muted a ton of people on Twitter who I have no issue with, but I just didn't want to see that content. And then the whole adoption thing happened with that family that was told to me. So I went back and I started looking at that specific thing. And it's like a rabbit hole. I did that. And then I kind of caught myself getting somewhat back into the cycle. And I was like, no. well, wait, pump the brakes. We don't want to get back involved in that. I don't want to continue to talk about her. There are plenty of channels that talk about Katie's behavior. If something massive happens and you guys want my opinion, you know you can come to me and tell me, hey, this is going on. I really would like to know your opinion, and I will think about it. Doesn't necessarily mean I'm going to make a video, but I will consider it if it's something that you guys want. But at the same time, we kind of have to understand that this is her pattern of behavior. She has a pattern that is so easy to identify now. I understand creators who want to talk about her because that's what they enjoy doing on their content, and kudos to them. Like, there's a reason people are enjoying those kinds of content, because that's what they want to see. But for me, it's just way too much, because I know it's negative. I know it's toxic. I know it bothers me. It makes me super frustrated. And for me, I'm not going to put my own self at risk of always being mad, always being frustrated, being like, damn it, I have to film another video because she's gone off and done and said XYZ. And that's what had started to happen for me. And I've never wanted my channel to be focused to where I feel like I have to always talk about one creator. Katie's problematic, don't get me wrong, but there are far more problematic people on this platform than just Katie Joy. And I don't want to be centered around one person. And that's why I pulled away and kind of revamped the channel and started doing things a little bit differently, started covering a little bit of different content. And I'm still figuring that out. I went there for a while talking just about general topics here that I see on YouTube, general words and verbiage that's being used. And now I've kind of gone off on a few different, I'm just trying to see what kind of content you guys like. But I'm not going to get stuck. If she does something, yeah, I'm going to talk about it. If it's big enough to where it ends up coming to me, then I'm not opposed to not talking about it, but I'm not going to end up in a cycle of putting myself at risk because somebody has a toxic community. And I hope that as viewers, you guys also can take a step back. If you realize that when you're watching somebody, whether it's live or on replays or on videos, if you feel that you're constantly getting frustrated or you're constantly like WTFing and like not in a good way, that you maybe realize you shouldn't engage in that content and you just back away. And if it's because one particular thing has happened and you don't agree and it's something that's like a big moral to you and you need to walk away from a channel, it is okay to walk away from a channel and then come back later, because growth happens, especially in this Katie, anti-Katie, whatever the heck you want to label it. A lot of channels are new. A lot of channels have only been around for a year or two, some longer than that, but some for a shorter period of time. And a lot of them have built pretty massive platforms. To me, my platform, even though I know it's like a micro channel, having almost 4,000 people who could potentially watch any one video to me is mind-boggling. That's a massive amount of people to me that I know could be listening to my opinion. And I take that very seriously. And that's why I try to always play devil's advocate with my content. Even though I may state my opinion is this, however, I can see it this way, that's because I don't want to build a toxic playground. And I do feel that sometimes creators end up unintentionally creating somewhat of a toxic environment without even knowing that it's happening, because it's not necessarily all on the creator. Some of it can be, if you're a channel that does a lot of live streams and a lot of interacting, some of it can be, in my opinion, onto the chatters, if that makes sense. But at some point, it does fall back on the creator at the end of the day, right? So I went off on a tangent. Let me go back and see what you guys are saying and who has joined. Hey, Kelly M, how are you? I'm happy you guys are here too. Hey, without a freaking clue, how are you doing? You gave her less than 3 weeks and you moved along because you could see she was an nincompoop in your opinion. And I mean, that's fine. And I'm glad you were able to identify that. But I feel like people who have had it get to a point where it's affected them so deeply. It's not totally on them, but at some point it's that accountability factor. You have to be able to be self-aware and check yourself. Because if people who have seriously been affected, I am assuming here, and this maybe could be wrong, but I am assuming that it was a situation where you were continuing to go back and engage in her content or engage in her content through someone else, and it continued to affect you. You can like a creator and not watch the content that bothers you. I have a lot of subscribers who will not engage in certain topics that I have on open discussion because they're too fresh for them, or they're just too hard to have those conversations publicly. And I 100% understand that. And I would hope no one would ever put themselves at a point to where they're putting their own health, mental health, physical health, whatever it may be, aside to watch my content. I don't think I'm worthy of that. I don't think any creator is worthy of that. Hey, Dana, how are you? I'm glad you made it. Yeah, she does have a pattern for sure, but we do get, let me read your full comment before I interrupt it. She has a pattern, but when we get involved with her, we don't see the pattern at first. Once we resolve the pattern, we choose to disconnect, and that's the key. You have to disconnect. I agree, and that's with any toxic place. I know right now we're kind of focused on Katie because that's the individual who brought this to me. Her particular experience was with Katie, and I know a lot of my subscribers have similar feelings towards Katie, and she's an easy one. That's kind of unfortunate, but she is a topic, an easy creator to really have this conversation because so many have been affected by her. But this conversation can go to anybody who has a toxic community. I mean, they're all around. And sometimes the toxic community isn't necessarily, like I said before, created by the creator. Sometimes they kind of encourage it by having echo chambers. But other times, I think it can happen, especially for really, really large creators, like 1,000K plus subscribers. I think it can happen when they have a large majority of their audience who, no offense to anyone, but blindly follows what they say in the topics that they cover, and they don't think critically, or they don't try to see the other side than what the creator is delivering. Because to be honest, a lot of creators in their delivery of commentary give just their opinion. I find it very rare that creators are really trying to have that open dialogue of both sides of the argument. It kind of tends to sway their opinion, and they push their opinion out, which is what most commentary is. By no means am I saying that that's, problematic. I don't necessarily think it is. Can it be? I mean, sure, anything can be problematic if it's done with malice. I'm out of breath. Sorry. You're harassed on Twitter because of pineapple pizza lovers. Well, Sue, you may be in the minority here with that. Hey, Miss Cassandra, good to see you. You're good, trying to understand what the deeper issues are that have been going on. I think it's more than what's going on. I mean, if you're talking, I have a feeling you're talking about everything that's kind of been transpiring since Wednesday of last week within the smaller creator communities. That, I guess, is everybody related to KJ in some extent? I think so. I'm not necessarily going to go down that rabbit hole tonight. I will say I did do a video that maybe I'll put live tomorrow. Just kind of my unsolicited advice on all of that. Because there's a deep rabbit hole there. Briefly, what I will say is it's not any one person's fault in what's going on with all of these different at this point, I can't even keep track of who all has ended up involved and where it started. Honestly, like the recent drama. I I mean, my personal opinion is it's ridiculous. I think everybody's feelings at some point have gotten hurt, understandably so, in all different angles. And I'm not going to go down the conversation of picking sides or any one creator, because I have kind of stepped back from a lot of what was going on. For several months, I stayed out of a lot of people's chats, and I was kind of MIA because the community got a little bit too toxic, not by any creator, but just the constant coverage of Katie was toxic. And unfortunately, a lot of those creators were still covering Katie. And I just didn't want to be around. I didn't want to be a part of that. What I will say is every creator who has ever said anything, myself included, have done wrong, said wrong things at times. I'm not saying I'm scotch-free, but I was out of it for a long time. I know people assumed and just ran with ideas that weren't necessarily true. But for me, if somebody chooses that they no longer want to watch my content or they don't want to like me anymore, I'm okay with that. That's part of what comes with the territory. If people want to make videos about me, that's within their right. Do I have a right to respond? Yes. However, for me, it's very rare that I will. I have in the past, and I will tell you, it just makes any kind of quote unquote drama worse. And if someone feels that they absolutely have to say something publicly, I'm not going to damn someone for addressing something that they feel they have to address. The problem that I see is I think people are taking everything that's happened since like January, because the infighting in this community has really been going on since about January, from as far back as I can remember, is people's emotions have gotten involved. And that's a boundary thing. Is I think some people started their channels, they got to start growing, and they maybe didn't identify where they wanted their boundaries to be placed yet. And some boundaries were crossed. People got a little bit closer than I would probably suggest, but that's just me. Do whatever you want. And feelings ended up getting involved, and it's ended up being a tit for tat, both publicly and behind the scenes. And if you're a creator, or you're somebody who's in this community who gets information, you see it all. People bring you screenshots. I have had screenshots sent to me of people talking poorly about me. And, I just let it roll off my back. But I understand some people's emotions are so far involved that when they see something being said about them negatively, they feel they have to respond and they have to defend themselves. Am I saying that that's wrong? No, it's not my place to say if it's right or wrong to address something. But at some point, as adults, we have to be able to remove yourself from the equation and take a step back and look at it from a bird's eye perspective and think, is it really worth it? Is it really worth me to shade one last time? Is it really worth me fixing this lie one last time? Is it really worth it this one last time? Because the last time ends up into another last time, right? Because the cycle continues and it keeps coming back around and back around and back around. That's what I'm seeing. And I've honestly, my heart hurts for everybody who is the subscribers and the creators, all the creators involved. My heart hurts for everybody because I understand that. I really think that there's genuine feelings that are hurt, and some of those are not ever going to be fixed. But at some point, as an adult, we have to be able to say, I'm done, and either get it all out. My advice in the video that'll come out tomorrow that you guys will hear is my unsolicited advice, because I'm sure nobody really gives a rat's butt, is if you genuinely feel you have to air out your grievances on another creator or another situation, just do it. Sit down, live stream, video it, whatever format you're comfortable with, say your issues, deal with the backlash if you're going to get the backlash, because it's going to happen no matter what. You're going to get people disagreeing with you because it's your opinion. Stop feeling like you have to explain your opinion. Say your opinion, mean what you say, deal with the backlash and don't address it again and move forward. Or just decide that you're done with it and stop talking about it behind the scenes, stop talking about it on the scenes, stop shading each other, because you're just hurting each other more and more and more. And I hate that. I hate that people feel that they constantly have to defend themselves and they constantly have to explain their situation, because none of us are perfect. Not one of us are perfect in anything. We've all made mistakes. Some people may be willing to take accountability for their mistakes and some won't. And that's just a boundary that as a viewer and as a fellow creator, we have to decide if we want to continue engaging with that or not. But it's to the point for me who I feel like I've kind of stayed silent because it's not my fight to fight. Do I have opinions? Yeah. I'm airing some of them out now, and you'll see the rest of them in my video tomorrow. But it's sad. I don't feel comfortable anymore going to anyone's chat, not one person, because this is spilled out into everything. It's like there's nothing else that can be covered but this constant inner fighting drama, which is going to happen. Like, guys, we have to be honest and real with ourselves that there's always going to be some kind of inner fighting happening. That's just YouTube. Some people like the fighting. I don't know if any of the creators who are currently involved in any of this revel in that. But I mean, I think of people like Katie when I say that. Like, clearly Katie likes the dissonance. Katie likes the drama. It's not far-fetched to think that other creators don't like the drama and don't want the drama to continue either. I've never really gotten that vibe from many, maybe one or two in like a random stream here or there, but continually, I wouldn't necessarily say that. So it's just sad. And if I don't feel comfortable, I'm sure other people in the community don't feel comfortable. And that's at no creator's expense. It's at no creator's fault. It's just my feelings, just like them feeling that they need to defend themselves and correct maybe misinformation and addressing it. It's the same. Everybody's experience with someone else is valid. If you have a bad experience with a creator who's well loved, there's nothing wrong with that. We all have different experiences with people, you know, and if you feel that you have to talk about it, then talk about it directly, because this indirect bullshit is perpetuating it. And I even talk about it in my video tomorrow. I hate to ever put blame on anyone, but I think this is a community issue. I think it is a subscriber issue as well as a creator issue. I don't think it can just be put on creators, and I don't think it can just be put on subscribers. I think it's a mixture of the both. I think sometimes I think sometimes subscribers have good intentions, and they may be in another chat or a part of another Discord or whatever the hell it is, and they see that one of the creators they really enjoy being talked shit about, and they screenshot it or they screen record it, and then they send it to the creator. Because I know it's happened with me. And I will say it may make me a little mad, but at the end of the day, I don't care. I'm like that in my real life. If somebody doesn't like me in my real life, I don't go out of my way to have them like me, because their opinion is different. They don't like me. That's okay. I'm not going to bake them a cake and kiss their ass and hope that they're my best friend tomorrow. I'm not going to do that here on YouTube either. I will be respectful. And if I thoroughly enjoy somebody, I may be on their channel. Even if it's somebody I don't like. Hell, BX, you guys know I have a history with BX Beast Boy. However, lately, I have really understood where he's coming from, because a lot of his points make a whole lot of fucking sense. And that's probably going to get people mad at me, but it's true. Some of his points make sense. There's a whole lot of a hypocrisy that is happening everywhere. Everywhere. And I don't know if it's creators are afraid to just point blank say, I don't like so-and-so, then stop shading them. Stop throwing shade at them. At some point, you have to stand on your own credibility, your own accountability, and let your viewers see you for you and stop seeing you for you having to explain and defend yourself. Because the viewers are going to get sick of it. And the ones who aren't going to get sick of it are the ones who are perpetuating it. I mean that with all the love in my heart, but it's true. At some point, we have to be adults. If you say you want drama to stop, stop. You know, like, it's just such a shithole. And I'm trying not to get like too into it because, you know, it's just such a mess right now. I can't even make left or right. I was offline the past 2 days, and it seems more people have ended up inadvertently being involved. And I think everybody, in hell, I'll even say myself included, has probably contributed to some form of people feeling that they need to support one person and not another. I try not to talk about the sides or talk about specific creators because that does nothing but further the conversation for there to be sides to pick. Or saying people turned your back on. I hope nobody feels that I turned my back on them. I've had a conversation with someone and that's what they thought. And I explained to them, no, I didn't turn my back. I stepped away. And if you're engaging in something that I personally find problematic, I'm going to step away for a while. It doesn't mean that I don't like you. It doesn't mean necessarily that I don't support you. I may not support you in those moments, and I'm going to come back. Like with the BX Beast Boy shit, what he's been saying, I've been really interested to resubscribe to his channel because he's been back to making sense. You know, he's been pretty spot on with some of his points. Do I agree with all of them? No, but he's made some pretty valid points. I never thought I would ever say that, but I mean, that's how like crazy this whole situation has been. So I just ranted. Let me go back and see what you guys are saying, and we can move on to talking about the toxic stuff. If you care to know more in depth my opinions and more of my unsolicited advice, the video will be up tomorrow. I was this close to just trashing it, but I know people want to know what I have to say, so I'll just load it because hold myself to my own words, right? If people unsubscribe or decide to leave me, you know, some of their thoughts, that's fine. I'm totally open to hearing other people's argument. Sue, you better not time out the pizza lovers. Yeah, and I hope everybody feels comfortable coming onto my channel. Dottie, I appreciate that you do come here because there's been times when I've said I didn't necessarily agree with some of the things that you have said or some of the things that you've done before, but we're adults about it. And if it bothers you or if you've done something and I felt that I wanted to talk to you about it, I've reached out to you and I've tried to always hold that. But not everybody is open to having those conversations, and that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. No one is owed. I am not owed for anybody to talk to me. You personally think that creating content dedicated to only one single toxic creator can breed more? Yeah, I think so too, Melissa. I think it can. I think it can. It's one of those situations where it unintentionally habits the same kind of environment of what you're talking about. Because at some point you end up getting, it probably happened on my channel there for a little while when I was really covering Katie a lot, is you're pointing out somebody's bad behaviors for so long that a lot of people who end up watching you have similar thoughts. Occasionally I'd have one or two people disagree and support their argument, but it was very rare. And I don't know if that's just because people maybe they didn't feel comfortable giving their opinion on my channel because so many agreed with me. Yeah, I stepped back a while ago and I tried to come back just because I really enjoyed other people in the community, and I saw people starting to cover different content. But I do that, and then it seems that other drama is like being stirred up and started. Hey, Christophan, good to see you. It can be hard to ignore things, but you've seen things said about you for the most part you ignore. If I do address it, it's usually with humor. And some people aren't even going to take like a humorous response as humor. They're going to take it as being serious. And that's part of being a creator, though. Like I've always said since the beginning, if you're going to have a platform, just make sure that you are emotionally ready to have some of the most god-awful things said to you. Because if it doesn't happen in the beginning, it will happen eventually. And people are going to make content about you. People are going to make lies about you. And at some point, you have to just decide to not address it. And if a subscriber of yours genuinely wants to know if you're doing okay or what your opinion is, they will reach out to you in a private means. Does that always go well? No, it doesn't. But I mean, it could be better. I don't know. I mean, I don't think that there's honestly like a right or wrong way to handle any situation. It's all circumstantial. Boundaries are tough sometimes, especially in this unique situation where people place their boundaries based on what they think they can handle, but they just don't know what they're truly in for. Yeah, I can agree with that. I think every creator has to figure out where that boundary is for them. I had to figure it out. Go where you're celebrated. I agree. I think that just needs to happen from now on. I hope it happens, but at some point, we can only just give our advice. And at this point, I'm pretty sure my advice and my opinion is all unsolicited. You guys may be just curious, but I don't know if the people involved really give enough. And if they don't, that's, like I said, that's totally fine. It's absolutely fine. It's just my unsolicited opinion and advice of the situation. You completely understand and felt that KJ's wrath at times, but you're responsible for yourself. Yeah, we're all responsible of ourselves. Absolutely. We're adults, right? I know I'm super far back in the chat. People are entitled to have their opinions, but they don't always have to give it. It's best for this battle just gets laid to rest. Yeah, Mandy, I know you don't mean, and please don't take me addressing this is because of your comment, because I just see this a lot. The whole verbiage of sides, turn back, fight, war, it's all further subconsciously instilling that you have to pick one or the other. And I hate that. Nobody should feel that they can't. If you genuinely like everybody, why can't you just support everybody and be vocal everywhere? It's crossed, to me personally, it has crossed too many boundaries when people are intentionally going to look and see if they're being talked about or if comments are being made about them. That's not healthy for you. And what good does it do? But it does you no good, but make you mad. I don't get that. Dottie, you think it's getting worse and worse? I mean, you're one of the ones who are more involved. And I could imagine that maybe you have a different perspective. Anybody who is involved has a totally different perception than what I have. And I'm going to respect that you feel that it's getting worse and worse. And it really just upsets me even more that if you're feeling like it's getting worse and worse, I'm sure everybody else involved also feels that it's getting worse and worse. And I would just hope that at some point there can be either, I know for some of you involved, there's no way that a conversation can even happen anymore, but I just wish that it would be stop retaliating. And I know you have it, and I'm not saying this just directly to you, but for everybody involved, like at some point, Stop trying to get the last word in. Stop trying to throw the last bit of shade. Stop trying to be the one that says the last video because you feel there's misinformation about you. Oh, hey, Sloan. I don't know if you're here anymore. You weren't expecting that? Yeah, I'm sure many people probably weren't expecting that, but it's true. It is true. And, you know, I try to just stay as honest with you guys as I can and give you guys all of what I see, but I don't see it all. My chat just jumped. Go back and see what you guys were saying. I am really far behind in the chat. Where should you go to get caught up and educated? I would not recommend really getting educated on it all, to be honest. Like, to me, it's like, why? If you want to, that's fine. It's gone off on so many different channels. I probably couldn't even direct you in all the right areas at this point. But it's just a bunch of back and forth and a bunch of drama. If that's what you want to engage in, feel free. But at the same time, like, if it's not what you want to engage in, if you don't want to consume a whole lot of back and forth and difference of opinions and everybody not willing to see anybody else's point of view, it's kind of not worth it. Yes, Melissa, you say a lot of subs get sick of watching. I think so. The whole sides is ridiculous. Yeah. And I don't think anybody is intending. I think when people say, like, when they're talking about drama that they're involved in, I don't think they're meaning to cause division by saying sides. They're trying to express their feelings. And when you're expressing your feelings, it's hard to think correctly. It's hard to not really say words like that. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm not trying to put it on any one person, but when you're commenting and things like that, and you're trying to insinuate that, I'll be honest, I've deleted a few comments where people are trying to call out that one side versus the other side, because it's not, I don't like that kind of verbiage. You've observed that there's a lot of certain dynamic of subscribers who look for shit in order to send it. I don't know if it's necessarily, I'm not saying that what you've seen isn't what's happened. From what I've seen is, I think subscribers have genuine intentions. They just kind of want them to be aware. But what good does it do? You know, that's my question. I can say that at one time I was looking for stuff being said about me, and it didn't do me any good. It did me no good. It made me want to continue to respond when I had already pretty much said everything. Hey, Kathy Ann. Yeah, I can understand that. Okay, Mom, why you left for that. From what I have listened to the last couple of days, there wasn't very much of that, but I don't know. Like I said, I haven't gone all the way back. It was crazy. BX was on 2 panels last few nights, and subs attacked what? I know I'm behind. People were wanting a certain creator to ask him about why I mean, the thing is, because I've gone back and listened to I think I've heard all the streams he popped on today before I got on here, because I assumed this would be brought up. And I just wanted to have at least somewhat of an understanding of what was going on. And I didn't watch the chats, but I can understand why people want answers from some of his behaviors. Not even with my situation. I don't care. Like, put that behind. I'm over it. Pretty sure he's over it. And if not, like, oh well. I can't do anything for him. I can't control his emotions and how he feels. I'm over it all. It's water under the bridge. I had no ill intent, but just to set the record straight. Similar to what's going on. That's why I say, like, it's just my opinion from the outside point, because I've been in the position where I felt I had to respond before. And I didn't want to invalidate anyone's feelings, even BX's and his understanding of the situation, because we're two different people with two different opinions. We're going to have different viewpoints of what happened. It's up to the viewers when there's inner drama and creators are responding to one another to listen to both parts. And if you decide that one is more believable or you like one's delivery more than the other and you want to unsubscribe from one of them and not the other, that's up to you. As subscribers and viewers, when dramas happen, it's kind of up to you guys to decide where you fall. The problem becomes when it becomes a side issue in a battle, so to speak, where it's like, if you support this other person, because I already gave you my opinion and my experience, you can't support that other side now. Where do you have the right? Like, that's my question. Where do you have the right? I've had subscribers who didn't even know BX and I have had an issue, and they will tell me how awesome he is and how much they like him. And I have never once discouraged them. Awesome. I really enjoyed him too. And lately I've really enjoyed his method of talking on panels and his method of having a debate, because what he has been having these last couple of days, that's what a debate is when you are trying to talk out an issue and you have differing viewpoints and you can cordially have a conversation. Yelling at each other, cursing each other out, and doing stuff like that, that's not a debate to me. Future talk could be about conservations and or actions that could lift someone up. We could all help the dialogue to lead to positive interactions with individuals who disagree. The problem with, stuff like that has been trying to happen. Channels have been trying to hold panels to talk things out. And from what I have seen, and that's kind of what I caught up on today, is a lot of it is some people are, and I mean this no offense to any one person, but people are stubborn. They think that they are right, and they do not see and they cannot understand where the other side is coming from. And I think it's because it's so fresh. What's been going on with the channel that kind of has stirred all of this up because of the disgusting things he said it's still really fresh for a lot of people, and they are not going to be able to step back and really think about it right now. And I think that kind of is what plays into this a lot, is it's all very reactionary and very in the feels. And again, I'm not trying to say there's anything wrong with that, but when you are coming to your channel and to your platform with feelings and with emotions, and you haven't had a chance to really digest everything for yourself, you're only adding to the pot. At that point, you're only adding for speculation and implication to be made because you haven't sat down and thoroughly processed it for yourself. So you're almost processing it with your subscribers, which I don't necessarily know if that's fair to the subscribers either when I'm talking it out like that. Hey, Hooked on Phonics works for me. How are you doing? The sad part is there's a lot of good content that does not get made where creators are consumed. And that's just going to end up capping their channels out. If it continues, like my opinion is, if everything continues to be a circular thing with some channels are just now getting involved. Some have always been involved. Some channels that this started from, his channel has always been like that. That's clearly his shtick. Am I defending that? No, I'm just saying that's his shtick. So although it's disgusting, although it's vile, that's how he plans on growing his platform. And at some point, because he's already offended so many people, he's likely to offend more. And that's when you're going to end up accidentally capping yourself out. If you're going to keep yourself to just getting involved with drama, you're going to burn all your bridges within the community and any community you may enter, if that's the kind of content that you want to go into. People attacked BX. Why? Because of his opinions? Because of the hypocrisy he was pointing out within what's going on? Like I said, I'm not going to agree with everything that he said, but a large majority, his overarching theme makes sense to me. His overarching theme of the hypocrisy that's kind of going on makes sense, but I don't, and I think most people would be able to see that in a few weeks from now, but because people's feelings and emotions and people are offended, rightfully so, they can't really objectively think about the situation right now. That's not fair for subs to attack a creator for making a decision to let somebody on their panel. I don't think that that's fair. That's not fair to BX or the creator of the channel. And that is part of what I'm talking about, where I think the subscribers play a little bit of a part into everything going on. If the subscribers are going to tell a creator, because you had somebody on your platform that I genuinely dislike, I'm going to no longer be a part of your channel anymore because of that, how is that positive? How is that creating a healthy environment? And that's going to make that creator, I'm assuming you're talking about either Little Red or EKC People Suck, because those are the only two that I know have had him on. That's not fair to say to either one of those ladies when they were really just trying to allow BX to be heard and to allow the community to see where he is seeing the hypocrisy within the community. Hey, Jen Hobbs. You don't feel, yeah, I don't feel, and it's not necessarily the drama. It's just, I feel like if I'm to go anywhere, because I've kind of remained neutral and out of everything, at least from what I know of, who knows? Because poor Dina got involved and I didn't think she was even in this community to that extent. I don't know. Who knows? Me talking about it now will probably get me involved, and my video tomorrow will probably get me involved. I'm not trying to insert myself. I'm just trying to give my opinion, because I share a lot of subscribers with a lot of the channels that this is all happening on. And again, I don't think any one person is in the wrong. I think it's just all emotionally charged. A lot of the problem, it seems, interpretation is an issue, and seems like people forget that opinions aren't facts. It seems that people are also forgetting that you can dislike somebody and not be an asshole. Unless that's how you operate your channels. But none of the channels that are involved, except for maybe Real Entertainment News, is an asshole. Not from what I've seen. I mean, everybody does their own content and does their own thing. They're not outwardly trying to be nasty people. But it's like we're all trying to make each other out to be nasty people all of a sudden because we don't agree with something that was done or something that was said or that this person said and this person supported. I mean, you need a damn diagram at this point. And that's just ridiculous. Hey, Just Britt. Hey, Ashley. Yeah, I don't even know who you're talking about, Ashley. Like, I haven't watched anybody's actual live stream today. I was rewatching stuff. Hey, Melody. No, you do not want to. I would advise not going down the rabbit hole because every stream and everything, every video about this is a minimum an hour long. And I mean, it's like response after response after response after response. Is there good content within what's going on some of these things, like good conversations starting? I think so. But the problem is I don't think people are really ready for the conversations to be had, if that makes sense. My hair's doing something crazy. Yeah, I don't like that either one of them got backlash for choosing to allow another creator. That's a hypocritical in it of itself. That's where that's where I agree with BX about like the hypocrisy of it all. Is BX has engaged in some nasty behavior, and has said some pretty awful things at times, but they're his opinions. Are we trying to say that him and Real Entertainment News are one and the same? Like they're both said and done problematic things? No. So I would even defend BX in that. Like, yeah, he has said some things that are off the wall. He's come at people before, but like not to the degree that Real Entertainment News has. So BX shouldn't be allowed to have a conversation if the creator's wanting to have a conversation with him because they outwardly dislike him that much. But nobody can outwardly dislike any of the other creators that they're trying to defend because those creators have done problematic things. You see the hypocrisy there? Like, I'm not trying to say that any other creator, whether we're talking about Red, Little Red, or Charlotte, or Aaron, have done outwardly constant problematic behavior, but all of them have done stuff that I didn't support and that I didn't like at some point or another. I'm sure I have done and said things that they don't like and they don't support too. Do some of them not support me anymore? Maybe. I don't know. I support them more behind the scenes now because of all of this mess. Because this got toxic several months ago, I pulled away. Does some of that happen to coincide when I was seeing some problematic things on some channels? It does, but at never any point did I not actually like a person, like the creator behind the channel. I've always liked everybody. But you can voice your opinion and you can dislike or disagree with something that's being done on a channel and that not mean that you don't support them anymore. You can still support somebody and not agree with what they're saying and not agree with the topic. If you cannot do that and you're a creator, you are going to end up forming an echo chamber. That is all I'm saying. If you want to have an echo chamber and that's how you want to run your content, by all means. I'm not here to judge anybody. Do what you want. But that's ultimately what's going to end up happening because that's what that is. If you're not allowing people to disagree with you without feeling like they're doing something wrong, if they can't disagree with you. And all of this that we've talked about technically does kind of fall under our open discussion topic because everything going on right now, and I'm sorry to you guys who are here, I appreciate you all, but if you're engaging in any of this, you're engaging in the toxic behavior, you're engaging in a toxic community, and I can guarantee people's mental healths have been affected. I have seen it, I have heard it on some of these streams, I've seen it in the few lives that I did just watch when they were live on Friday night. I saw what people were saying. People have been affected. As a creator, for me, like if shit was going down on my channel like that and I know people's feelings are going to get hurt, that's when you have to evaluate how to have an adult conversation and allow people who don't want to be around to exit. And if you don't want to be around because you know you're going to get upset or you know you're going to get triggered, you need to leave. Stop being so curious. Stop putting your mental health at risk for freaking internet stuff. It's not that deep. It's not that important. You shouldn't feel that you have to ride for anyone that hard that you're going to put yourself at risk. Someone said he's worse. Who, BX is worse? BX has always had the ability to be logical and have a good conversation. That's why we all liked him for so long. Then he started to get on. I don't know what happened. I don't know if his feelings have gotten hurt or if he felt people were coming for him. From what I've seen, I think he felt I was coming for him. I was just trying to explain my scenario and like what happened from my perspective with him. I wasn't trying to convince anybody to not like him, but I think that's how he took it. And I mean, I can't do anything about how he received my content or what was maybe relayed to him if he didn't watch my content. I can't do anything about that. But I enjoyed him because he was able to have good conversations. He did have a good outlook on things. But then there for a while, he was making a lot of content that came off very aggressive, that came off like he was trying to get his opinion out there with a little bit of nastiness. He was kind of being an asshole to a lot of people. You know, he was going on panels and making people feel dumb and feel very hurt. I know what he did to Waxy was really upsetting to a lot of people. I'm not saying he's not without fault. None of us are, though. But at one point, he was able to have good conversations. That's why people were subscribed. It seems that maybe he's going back to that kind of content, or at least he's trying. I genuinely feel like he's trying to be like a third party and say like, hey, this is what it looks like from the outside. Because as somebody myself who's kind of been on the outside of a lot of this going on these last few months, I think that's why I agree with him so much. And he's remained relatively calm other than the first bit with Christ conflict. He remained pretty calm and was able to have a conversation with both Red and Aaron. There seems to be a lot, not just feelings, but preemptive defensiveness. Yeah, I could agree with that. I think there is a lot of defensiveness. I know, and I'm not trying to like start my own drama, but I know some of my videos where I was talking about general topics were taken as if I was trying to shade them, like shade Charlotte or shade Little Red. And that was not my intention. It just happened to be coincidental on what was going on within their channels at the time that people assumed I was talking about them. I wasn't. I'm in multiple different communities. I watch a lot of different kind of content, and those issues were happening across the platform. But I mean, people, like I said, people are going to come to their own assumptions and come to their own conclusions. And if that makes someone like not like me or think I'm talking about somebody, you can just come and ask me. Even if I downright dislike you, which there's nobody I dislike at all, if I did and you came to me, I would be cordial and have a conversation with you. And if at worst, it would be agree to disagree and walk away. It carries too many emotions. Oh, the topics. Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree. And, you know, what was said is deplorable. There's no way you can defend that. And I'm not defending Aaron in this, but I don't think Aaron was ever trying to defend Real Entertainment News. She was I think she was probably trying to get people to look at him as a person because they were wanting him to look at them as people. And that's the perspective she was trying to pull. But because she has a history with him and like they've done streams and stuff, people are seeing her as biased. I think, and that's an emotional charged thing to have bias. And I can understand where people are feeling that way, but I don't think it's fair to put his actions onto her. And if you're someone who if you can't like understand the difference there, maybe try to have a conversation. And then if you don't want to have a conversation, just unsubscribe. You know, that's just that's what I think. But I understand some people with everything that was gone on with him and what he said, felt that they really needed to defend themselves, and rightfully so. Some of the stuff that he said, I've never watched his channel. I've never engaged with him before because personally, I couldn't support something like that. I understand he may be doing it for shock value. I understand he may be doing it maybe because that's how he genuinely feels. I don't know. But it's content I don't like, and I would refuse to engage with content that I really don't like. I don't want to be listen to people be verbally assaulted, essentially. I don't want to listen to that. Does that mean that he's a nasty guy? I mean, based off of what he said, yes. Does that mean in real life he's nasty and should be condemned? I don't know, because I've not watched his content. Yeah, I think that's what Aaron was trying to say too, Miss Cassandra. But what Aaron also needs to understand is she's going to be perceived as biased because she has talked with him previously. She has streamed with him previously. So people are going to assume that she's biased, and people are going to hold her to a different degree. Does that mean that it's fair? No. Do I personally agree with that? No, because I can distinguish the two as two different individuals. And if Aaron continues to promote him moving forward, if I find it concerning, I will talk to her about it. But it's Aaron's channel. She can do whatever the hell she wants on her channel, just like I can do what I want. And if it came to a point where I didn't feel that I could support Aaron anymore, I'm not going to announce and make a video that Aaron is this truth seeker who does these comedic parody videos translating stuff. But because of this, I'm going to disavow her. No. And that's probably going to get me flack that I am choosing to not disavow anyone. I never was a supporter of Real Entertainment News. I was one who didn't give him a chance and who wouldn't have given him a chance. And he's never been on my channel from what I remember. And if he was, that's fine. If he decides to ever come around here, that's fine. But if he starts talking like he has, I will boot him. And I won't feel bad about it. And I'm pretty sure Aaron or whoever else who has talked to him would understand why I did what I do. I give everybody the ability to come to this platform to actually have conversations. Anybody can come in. I've never dropped the link before, but if it got to a point where people wanted me to start dropping a link to talk about things, I would. I just don't want to run the risk that Aaron did and end up with private parts on the screen. I know that's what people want, Miss Cassandra. If you don't want to support Aaron because she's not going to publicly absolutely cut all ties with him, then you can do what JJ did and try to have a conversation, try to come to an understanding. And maybe it can be in an agree to disagree situation and you go your separate ways. Or maybe you just choose you don't want to support Aaron anymore because of that. That's okay. It's okay to end up not liking somebody or end up not supporting anybody because of XYZ. Somebody, I'm sure people will end up unsubscribing from my channel from this live stream. And I'm sure I'll have a few more fall off tomorrow when I upload my video because I'm speaking about it. But that's okay. If anybody does watch to this point and you have strong opinions against my viewpoints, I encourage you to leave them in the comment section. As long as they're not hurtful or hateful, I will leave them. I will try to have a conversation. You can always reach out to me. That's always available. I'm open to having conversations. I just don't know how there will be a stop to any of this, and understand that this community is becoming the community of Katie. It's becoming the very thing that we were calling out. I'm not saying creators are becoming, Katie. Please do not get me wrong, because I do not feel that way at all. But I do feel that our community is becoming toxic. It's been toxic for a while. That's why I left. And I appreciate everybody who's hung around and like stuck around for my other content. I genuinely appreciate you guys. But this community, this back and forth stuff, this is the problematic behavior we would call out with Katie. And now we're doing it amongst ourselves because our feelings are hurt for months. We all say it's childish. Absolutely everybody who's involved has said it's childish and they want it to end and they don't want to be a part of it anymore. But the next day, or even later after that day, you're in someone else's chat. And I think that's, like I said earlier, that's part of the problem, is people investigating where creators are going and what they're saying where. We're people too. If we're not openly, people bitch if creators have sock accounts, but now I understand why people probably have sock accounts, is because they're held to absolutely everything. And that is part of having a platform. But at what point are other creators and the subscribers going to stop micromanaging where people go and what they say when they go there? You know, everything is twofold within absolutely everything else. People want to complain or say, you know, stuff about private discords and things like that being leaked. Okay, I can argue both sides where I think that's a problem and where it's not a problem. Okay, I really can. Not even hypothetically, we have that issue, right? But then we have other people within the community who are allegedly on this other side, who are going into these other channels' chats and just waiting for them to talk shit. It's the same, guys, it's the same thing. It's the same. You're doing this. You're engaging in the same behavior. Stop it. Just stop it. If you really want the drama to quit, because you guys are putting it to a point to where people don't want to be subscribed to XYZ Yahoo Wahoos because of this. At some point, we're stunting all of our own growths because of this. I hope everybody can understand that. When all of your content is going to end up being about responding and defending and explaining and deflection and shade, you're only going to end up creating people who revel in that kind of content, thus forming a toxic community. I think everybody has an ability right now, within the next couple of weeks would be the time to let everything settle. If you want to be an adult and have a conversation with somebody, have it. If you don't, and you just don't want to like each other or you don't want to support each other, then do that. Then do it. Put into action what you say. Everybody, all of us, all be held accountable to this. And I mean entirely, like, stop talking about each other in DMs. Stop talking about each other in Discord. Stop talking about each other in videos. Stop shading someone or leaving enough room where people can imply or assume who you're talking about. If you can't say it, if you cannot make a statement and not say that creator's name or that subscriber's name, then don't say it. Don't say it. If you can't say it because you're afraid people won't like you or you're afraid you're going to get backlash, then opt out of that entire sentence. That is my unsolicited advice. I have nothing else. I mean, I go into more details and stuff like that in my video tomorrow, but this is becoming really toxic. It's been toxic for a while, and it's getting more so because more and more people are ending up pulled in, ending up feeling like myself, where I just want to say, hey, like, seriously, let's just cut it out. Let's cut it out. you dislike Katie, but you dislike the way a lot of people cover Katie even more sometimes. When they stop seeing Katie as human, and they tend to stop seeing anyone who disagrees with them as human too. I think that happens unintentionally. I think I get what you're talking about, and I think it happens unintentionally most times. But I know what you mean. I don't know how to work Discord, and I never will learn how to work Discord, because every time I see a Discord or somebody related to a Discord, it's full of people venting, which means that it can, even if you're venting about someone or something or a situation in a public/private platform, because from my understanding, Discord is public to whoever is there. So you're publicly venting. Sometimes you are venting, but we're all people, and when you vent, you end up talking shit. I mean, that's the truth. So even if you're somebody who has been involved in any of this, where you have vented and you say that you would say what you did behind the screen to their face, you might, but you might not. You might feel that you would, but a conversation runs totally different when you're actually talking to somebody. Because then you can hear the emotion in their voice responding to you. Then you can hear them explain why maybe they did something that hurt your feelings. And then maybe you would regret saying she's a bitch or something like that. I don't know if that's what the screenshot was. I'm just hypothetically speaking here. You see what I'm saying? Like, if you're on Discord, protect yourself. Always put yourself first. I have given this advice to other creators who I've talked to in DMs. I have given this advice to people in my own life. Your safety, mental health, physical health, your well-being is up to you. No one else. I wouldn't put that on my spouse. I would hope that if I was in a bad place with any of that, they would be supportive and help me work through that. But it's not on them for me to get better. It's on me to get better. Okay? So we all need to be better. Everybody, no one on this planet is perfect. Everyone has made mistakes. Everyone has done bad shit. It may be varying degrees. We've all done stupid shit. We've all said nasty things to people, probably people that we love too. I know I have said some god-awful things to people before. When I was first adopted, my mom and I got into a fight, and I screamed at her. And I mean, I screamed at her just to take me back. Put me back in foster care. Because we had a stupid disagreement. I was like 12 or 13 when this happened. Did I mean it? Fuck no, I didn't mean that. Did it hurt her? Abso-fucking-lutely it did. Absolutely it did. Did we work through it? Yeah. We can all say god-awful things, do god-awful things. It's about how we go about trying to just move forward and move on with our lives. People don't want this to be a toxic place. Stop allowing it to be a toxic place. Let's all stop feeding into it. Let's all try to be better. Get back to whatever content you typically make or whatever live streaming you typically do. Stop allowing this drama and back and forth to continue to consume you. I have heard creator after creator after creator now say that they have come very close to leaving this platform because of some of the drama. And that's terribly sad. Nobody should feel that they shouldn't have their platform that they have worked hard for not be there anymore because they can't deal with the pressure. It's one of those things, if you don't like the person or you don't like the content, stop watching it. You know? And I know that sometimes it's easier said than done, but when a whole community is all fighting and all up in arms, let's stop pointing fingers. Let's stop saying, this is what you did wrong. This is where it started. This is why it happened. Let's stop. Let's stop doing that. And if you don't want to mend a bridge with somebody that is currently a part of this drama, if they throw shade or they talk shit about you, be the bigger person. Don't even address it. Don't talk about it publicly / privately in a Discord, because it's going to come back out and it's going to be used against you. Because this community is turning toxic and is turning into the community that Katie Joy has. That's the honest truth. I'm sure Dottie, I mean, it sucks if Dottie has gotten death threats, and I'm pretty sure she said that earlier and I didn't read it out. And that's terrible. Nobody should have that happen. Other people have also gotten death threats. You know, it's an across the board type thing where everybody's getting disgustingly vile messages sent to them. So have other creators. We can't diminish that. You know, that almost feeds into it to a degree. And I'm really trying to be unbiased here and like identify the hypocrisy that is happening here. It's terrible that Dottie has been getting death threats. But I know one of the contingents, other creators that this is involving a lot is Charlotte. And Charlotte has too gotten death threats. So are we going to minimize the death threats that Charlotte got previously because Dottie's getting them now? Because Dottie's getting bullied now? We're going to diminish all of that that's happened to Charlotte? That's us being hypocritical. We can't engage with that. That's not fair. Everybody has been wrong. Everybody has been done dirty. Everybody has experienced shit things. Everybody has. That's why I'm saying we really just need to, everyone, take a step back. Take a breather. None of this is worth it. No creator should be getting death threats. No creator should be getting sock accounts made of them to make fun of them. And if a creator is aware of who is engaging in that behavior, I hope you are addressing it. I don't know if that's the case. I would highly hope that that's not the case. But always remember, if you are engaging in what could be perceived as sneaky, nasty behavior, it will be brought to light eventually. Because at some point, someone's not going to like you anymore, and it's going to be brought out with receipts and everything. It's just, and it's ridiculous that that's the way that this community is, but that's why it's toxic. And I didn't mean that against you, Dottie or Sue. I know where you guys both stand with that. I hope you don't take it as me just saying against you two. And I know that's not how either one of you view it, but that is how people in this community are viewing it, is whenever we say, oh, but so-and-so, because they have, not even they, because this community has created this division around, I don't even know who's grouped with who anymore. But I know a lot of it is like everybody feels Charlotte's being attacked. And then everybody else who has ever given a criticism of Charlotte feels that they've been attacked. The reality is everybody has been attacked. I haven't talked about it on my channel, but I have been too. I just choose not to bring it to my platform because it's nobody else's battle. It is part of this weird space of being a creator, is having people send you death threats, having people say you ugly, having people say you're fat, having people say your content has no substance, having people tell you that you're a piece of shit. Okay? That is your opinion. I'm cool with that. I could give a crap less. I am genuinely one of those subscribers and one of those creators who say, don't care. I really don't care. Because I don't. I don't care if people don't like me. I don't care if people think I'm ugly. I don't care if people think I'm uneducated. I don't care if people don't like my delivery, because I am happy with me. I am very happy with who I am. I'm very happy with where I have come in life. I know what I have lived. I know what I have walked through. I don't have to justify myself to anyone. Do I want to share my experiences with you guys and allow places to have conversations, to allow change, to allow movement to happen? Absolutely. That's why I created a platform. I didn't create a platform to have people tell me how wonderful I am, or how pretty I am, or whatever else shallow shit may happen. And I hope these other creators who say that they don't care can follow suit with that and say that they genuinely don't care. The only issue I have is if people intentionally lie about me. Then I will typically respond. But it also depends on the lie, and it depends on everything surrounding it. You know, you gotta, as creators, we need to learn to identify the boundary on what's worth discussing and what's not. Because some things that are talked about and that has kind of contributed to some of this stuff is not worth it. It's not worth the conversation. Well, I'm glad you had somebody there telling you to stop looking for it. Nah, nobody needs to look for stuff on them. Like I said earlier, I've definitely looked for stuff on myself before. Have I watched some of it at times? Yeah, I have. What did it do for me? Nothing. Because if it was critical of me, I mean, honestly, some of them I've taken points from to try and better my content, to better the experience for the viewer. But the part that was clearly just their opinion and not liking me, it did nothing. It might have briefly hurt my feelings, but I don't let stuff like that get to me. Yeah, Mandy, that's what you were referring to in regards of the hate creators get. If you don't like someone, move on. You don't need to harass them. Yeah, I mean, there's no point for anybody to get harassed at all. Like, there's no point. And why? I've said I've never been the person, even before I had a platform, to leave a negative comment anywhere. I've never left a negative comment anywhere. I've never even left a comment wholeheartedly disagreeing with somebody. I've left a comment leaving my opposing opinion respectfully, but I've never left like a nasty opinion like, oh, you're wrong. There's no way that you could be right. Didn't you see XYZ? Because what good does that do? Because some creators do read all of their comments. I'm one of them. Some creators do read all of their comments and some don't. You don't know who does and who doesn't. What we say online can carry a whole lot more than people give credit for it. And it can cause serious harm. It can cause toxic environments to form, which will then result in some people having lasting effects with it. And that's nothing on the internet should affect your personal life. And I see people who will criticize creators who go on mental health breaks. They're needed. Mental health breaks are needed because as a creator, if you're not filming or you're not editing or you're not going live, you're responding to DMs, you're trying to be active on your other platforms, you're responding to emails. If you're a larger creator, you're dealing with brand deals. I mean, it can get mentally exhausting, and mental health breaks are needed. Of course, some of the timing of larger creators' mental health breaks are, questionable, but all the time do people need mental health breaks. That's why I don't film or go live on the weekends, because it's my time to be with my family and to recharge. It's a boundary that I have put in place. And unless something is going to be off the following week, occasionally I may break that and upload a video here or there or go live occasionally. But otherwise, I try to have like what would be a normal weekend, to have that sense of normalcy to my day. Alrighty, guys. So all in all, just to wrap up this open discussion topic, as far as toxic environments, I think I've said it multiple times throughout this live stream. If you feel that you are getting some kind of negative emotion from content that you're watching, or if it's a particular creator that you keep going to and constantly feeling frustrated or angry or anything like that, please just stop engaging with it for then. Give it some time. If a creator says something that you absolutely can't agree with, that it's totally against your morals, and you like that person otherwise, take a few weeks off. Don't watch their content for a few weeks. Go back in after you've processed everything. Watch a video. If it's still giving you bad vibes, unsubscribe. If it's meant to be, they'll pop back up in your recommended one day, and maybe you'll resubscribe then. Nothing on the internet is that deep. It shouldn't be that deep. It should not be that deep to where it's affecting your real life. I know sometimes, especially within this community, people like to go real life. And I think absolutely every creator has spoken out against that. Do not go real life. Don't. Nothing is that important. Just because a creator you maybe don't like, even with Katie, it was never a good idea, or I could never understand why someone would go to the lengths of figuring out where she's at to harass her or to make her feel unsafe when she has a child in that house. It's never okay. And I don't think there is any single creator, and if there is, I do not ever want to support them, who will say that going real life is okay. Nothing on the internet is that serious. Unless you visually are seeing a crime happening or maltreatment happening, don't go real life. And if you don't have that information to go real life, make a tip to a hotline and move on. Do what you can do as a good citizen and then move on. Leave it to the authorities to figure out. This whole digging up people's criminal histories and shading people's criminal histories and alluding that people have criminal histories and talking about where people potentially could live is gross behavior. If a creator chooses to keep their criminal history off of the internet, we should respect that, because maybe it's something traumatic to them. You never know why someone has a criminal history. You never know. In DV relationships, oftentimes, believe it or not, oftentimes the survivor ends up with charges because of how the system is. The system is still messed up. There's a number of reasons why people get different kinds of charges. That should never be a point of judgment of character. If you've grown to like somebody and then you find out that they have a criminal history, you can ask them about it and maybe they'll be comfortable with sharing their story. But if they're not, you have to understand and respect that, especially if it was released without their information, without their consent. Same thing goes with any part of someone's life. Someone coming forward from their history, their previous life. We damned Katie Joy when she did this with the Stoffers and their neighbors, right? Where's the same stuff? You know, why aren't we holding people accountable to not behaving like Katie and going to these extreme lengths to get information on creators that they don't like? For what reason? Like I said, all creators, myself included, have made mistakes. If it's been a mistake big enough that you've left my channel, I'm sorry. I hope I've done better. And if not, I'm always open for feedback and advice. Because if I've offended one person, I'm sure there were more behind that were also offended. And I'm not going to know how I offended somebody unless somebody tells me. But I also know people just aren't going to like me. You know? And it is what it is. So I would advise to get some of this toxic behavior to stop. Stop engaging with channels. If you don't agree with what they're saying, stop being in the comment sections, feeling that you have to defend your stance or defend why you feel a certain way. If you cannot formulate an opinion respectfully, for it to make sense for a conversation to be had, I would advise not to send any kind of comment. Because I think chats, whether you're a creator in a chat or you're just a subscriber on a channel, chats are kind of fueling what is going on. And it seems that every creator is saying they want it to stop. They want it to stop. So if the creators are trying to make it stop and the chats are continuing to go, it kind of makes it hard to say it's not the chat's fault at that point. Now, can I also make the point that as creators, we choose what we read? Yes, but I can also say at times I don't fully read a full comment before I start to read it off. So I'm not going to hold that to anybody. That's not fair. It's really not fair to hold that level to anybody. But if you read something and it's something that you don't agree with or something that you may find it will stir shit, you can easily just say, I don't want to talk about it anymore. It's water under the bridge, or I'm over that, or whatever verbiage you want to use. That, again, is some more unsolicited advice. But yeah, I don't understand why people waste time on people they don't like. It's not productive. I agree. I think a lot of it is just out of curiosity, to be honest. People are curious, and some people do want to stir the pot. I mean, that's the truth. But I hope everybody has a good day. A lot of my video with more supporting information will be posted tomorrow afternoon. So if you're interested, it'll be there. If you're watching this on replay and you want to understand more, the rest of the video will be available for you guys to view tomorrow. I'm not sure what's coming for content this week. I was offline all weekend until like 3 o'clock today. So if you guys have seen anything that you want me to catch up on, any kind of news stories or anything like that, let me know. Otherwise, thank you. It's just chat. Yeah, I do need a refill. So if you guys have any comments, questions, or concerns, leave them down below. If you want to reach out to me privately, feel free to. All of my links are in the description. But with that being said, I hope you guys have a good day, evening, or night, wherever you guys are. And until next time, bye, guys.